Alright, so today I'm going to talk about this whole Beyond Meat phenomenon that's been going around and that's been heavily pushed in print media, on the news, and in various advertisements on TV. So first let's cover what is Beyond Meat. So what it really is a company based in California. Beyond Meat itself isn't a product, it's the company behind plant-based meat alternative food products. So the Beyond Meat burger patty is what we're going to primarily look at today, and we're going to see, is it healthier than the real meat ground beef burger patty of comparable size? So we're going to be talking about the 4-ounce burger patty, what is a typical serving. So the Beyond Meat patty itself is actually made up of 20 different ingredients, with the main constituents being pea protein, canola oil, as well as coconut oil, and another one of the ingredients further down in the list is something called modified food starch. So we have no idea what this actually means, but what we do know from all of this is that there's 20 different ingredients inside of a single Beyond Meat burger patty. From a nutrition facts point of view, the Beyond Meat patty has, let's see here, it takes 270 calories, whereas a ground beef burger patty is only 140 calories. It contains actually 18 grams of fat with 5 grams of saturated fat, so the exact same amount of saturated fat as your ground beef burger patty of the same size. Now here's where it gets a little interesting. There's 380 milligrams of sodium compared to a burger patty which only has 60. So you're looking at 6 times the sodium that's from a regular beef patty, and there's 6 times that inside of your Beyond Meat patty. As well, when we compare the protein content per serving size, the ground beef burger patty has 24 grams of protein versus 20 grams from the Beyond Meat patty. And this protein is actually made from a pea protein isolate. So it's not actually from any kind of meat source. It is 100% plant-based. There's nothing really wrong with a pea protein. It's actually a good protein source for vegans and vegetarians to use. So now let's take a look at what's with this massive marketing push that's been going on in all of the ads and so many of the fast food companies jumping on board with Beyond Meat. So one of the biggest reasons I would say is there's a lot more societal pressure towards focusing on more of a plant-based diet. There's more vegans and vegetarians in the world now, and some of them are quite fanatical with their viewpoints. They've protested outside of restaurants, they've thrown blood on people. Some of them are just quite loopy, to be honest. And then now there's massive fast food chains like Dunkin' Donuts with their Beyond Meat patties. You have here in Canada, Tim Hortons and A&W pushing big advertisements for it. But what was kind of interesting today is Chipotle came out and said that they will not be selling the Beyond Meat. They won't be selling the Beyond Meat patty on their menu. They won't even put it on there. One of the reasons why, there's only about 50 total ingredients on Chipotle's entire menu, and that's including the different spices and sauces that they use for their food products. From a business point of view strictly, Beyond Meat's current stock is trading at over $230 a share, and that's current as of 4:30 today. So now let's talk about what kind of claims is Beyond Meat making. The number one claim that they're really making is that the Beyond Meat patty, the plant-based burger patty, is a healthier option for you than a traditional ground beef burger patty. The biggest thing they look at here is that there's no cholesterol. When there's only 60 milligrams of cholesterol from a single ground beef burger patty, you actually aren't at a detriment to having this. Your body needs cholesterol. If you're male, you need cholesterol to create testosterone. If you're female, you need it to create estrogen. In order for us to survive and be healthy and have healthy cells, we need a certain amount of cholesterol in our diets. I'm not saying go out and start slurping down as many milkshakes and eating McDonald's every day. If you're eating a healthy diet where you're eating good meat sources, so we're talking about grass-fed, organic farms, wild game, sources like that, you're going to get good amounts of cholesterol into you. The other big claim that Beyond Meat and the entire vegan vegetarian population likes to use as the main reason for living that lifestyle is it doesn't harm animals. It's conscious eating. There's no detrimental harm happening to animals. Well, that's not actually true. That's a load of bullshit, as has been proven in Australia, and I'll actually put the link to the article below from the Australian. And what they found is one farm alone, Collie Farms in Australia, in order to grow 400 tons of peas, which in the grand scheme of things, 400 tons of peas isn't all that much, they have to kill 150 deer, about 1,000 possums, roughly 500 wallabies, just for the crop to be able to yield enough for them to make any money and get crop to market. As well, they found just in Western Australia, over 1 billion mice are poisoned annually, and in New South Wales alone, about 200,000 native ducks to the area are killed every year. This is just so that they can get the vegetation, get your vegetables and fruits to market. This doesn't even include being able to feed the livestock. This doesn't actually include all the other crops that are going on and being grown. So now let's take that and let's extrapolate it across the world. Think about how many animals become what's considered collateral damage to our food supply. In order for us to be able to eat even a vegetarian diet, we still have to slaughter thousands and millions of animals to get there. So the whole argument of it's healthier or it's a lot more conscious eating, it's not detrimental to the environment, there's no ecological impact, it's debunked. It's complete horseshit is what it really is at the end of the day. Animals, in order for us to grow our crops, will die. So unless we want to pay an obscene amount for it, which, let's be honest, most people can't afford to eat healthy anyways. So now let's jack the price up even more so that even less people can afford it. Now we're going to have less options for good, healthy foods. Alright, so let's get into what the science behind it actually says. Right now, there's actually no concrete, solid proof that says the plant-based patty is healthier for you than the actual real patty. If anything, when you look at the nutritional demands of the human body, the meat is going to be healthier for you. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency actually defines meat as a carcass derived from an animal. So for Beyond Meat to even call their thing and sell it as a meat or a meat substitute is hogwash. It is not meat, plain and simple. So some other scientific things to think about when we're talking about is it healthier for us? If this is a food that's got 20 plus ingredients, we don't actually know the full ramifications as well of how all of these ingredients, when smashed together, end up working within the body. In order for this whole meat substitute to actually be bound together, they actually have to heat it to a certain amount. So when you heat any kind of protein source, what happens to the protein itself at a molecular level is proteins start out with a whole bunch of amino acids. They like to link together in a bit of a train, but this train over time likes to fold in around itself to create your amino acid proteins. So when you heat up this protein, all these bonds start to break and you start to get what's referred to as denaturing of the protein. So all these amino acids start to somewhat have their bonds between each other broken. And then as we break these bonds apart, the protein no longer is going to last as long. For one, it's going to start to spoil sooner. So even though, yes, it's plant-based, you're not going to necessarily see it rotting, we don't actually know how healthy putting this preheated protein source into our body that then gets frozen and then we reheat it to cook it is going to react inside of our body long term. Is it going to cause an inflammatory response? Is it going to cause us to actually hold on to more of it because there's some chemicals in there in order for it to actually taste the way it does? Speaking of that, they use multiple different ingredients just to give it the kind of taste or palatability of meat. I don't understand the point of that. If you're a vegan or vegetarian, you gave up meat. Don't eat something that resembles or tastes like meat. It kind of defeats the purpose of becoming a vegan or vegetarian in my eyes, but that's just me. So going back to the beginning where I talked about how it's got 6 times the amount of sodium compared to a meat or a ground beef burger, all of the sodium, we keep being told by the media and by various health institutions that too much sodium is bad for us. It's somewhat true. We want, for the most part, to reduce our sodium intake because us humans in our diets, especially in the Western world, we consume too much sodium. Sodium is supposed to be paired a bit electrolyte-wise with potassium. One of the biggest issues is we're potassium deficient overall in our diets. So if we're not getting enough of this, but we keep getting more and more of this, of sodium, what that's going to do inside of us is, because it's an electrolyte, it means that it likes to draw water to it. And because sodium likes to stay on one side of the cell, it's going to pull more water over to it. So what this does inside of our bloodstream, in our blood vessels, is it pulls more fluid into our blood vessels. So as we pull more and more fluid into our blood vessels, that's more that our heart has to pump through. That's more that our blood vessels now, that's more volume they have to now contract and relax, allowing to pass through. So it's going to slowly increase your blood pressure. Increased blood pressure leads to heart issues. So is this massive jump in sodium going to be beneficial to us? I'm going to say no. I'm not going to say definitively from a medical point of view, but I'm going to say my personal point of view is that's not going to be good for you in the long term. One thing that we also have to take into account is us humans, we need omega-3 fatty acids. When you're looking at canola oil, you're going to be getting omega-6. We already get a shitload of omega-6 in our diet. So why do we want to keep adding more and more of one omega fatty acid to our diets over the other? We want to have a nice balance between these. I'll talk about this in a future video as well. Okay, so now let's look at why we need the omega-3s. Humans, especially developmentally, babies, have to get a higher amount of EPA. It's one of the 2 omega-3 fatty acids, the other being DHA. But EPA is extremely important for brain development, cognitive development, and any kind of neurological function. It allows for our myelin sheaths of all of our nerves to be nice. It allows for our brain to actually function and grow the way it's supposed to. The vast majority of the omega-3 EPA that's stored within our body is inside of our head. So, is it healthier to eat the plant-based Beyond Meat burger than it is to eat a real burger patty? I'm flat out going to say, fuck no. No, it's not more healthy. If anything, it's going to cause more health issues, maybe not immediately, but long term. Something everyone likes to say when it comes to, the vegan vegetarian diet is that they're healthier. Let's look at what most people actually eat. They eat whatever they want, whenever they want. They don't think about what they're eating. The only thing healthier about what vegans and vegetarians eat is they actually eat their vegetables. Also, most of the Western world doesn't eat enough fruits and vegetables to be healthy. Now, is the plant-based burger patty going to be able to improve the protein intake of vegans and vegetarians? Potentially, but they'd probably just be better off eating more legumes and stuff and not having such a highly processed 20 ingredient stuffed Frankenstein version of a burger. They use multiple ingredients for it to taste like that. They use them for color. They use it for keeping the quality, what they call quality. But for the most part, it's just that it survives longer in your fridge. So, at the end of the day, if you're a meat eater, don't switch over to eating this Frankenstein thing just because it's being marketed as being a healthy alternative. In reality, it's no healthier for you than your everyday Angus beef burger. If anything, it's going to be less healthy for you. It's going to probably cause you more health issues than what that actual burger is going to do. And the great thing about a real burger is going to be nice, juicy, tasty. It's going to have that cholesterol in it, that small amount of cholesterol that you actually need for proper sex hormone health. It's going to have that good cholesterol in there for natural human development, and it's going to have a good, real, natural taste. One ingredient, great tasting, why mess with it? So, no, the Beyond Meat burger, for about the 5th or 6th time now, is not healthier for you than a real burger. So below, I'll attach that link to the Australian article. It's a newspaper type article. If you've got any other questions or comments, just comment below, and I look forward to getting some more potential videos out on topics like this so that we can start dispelling some of the absolute crap out there in the nutrition world, and let's all lead better, healthier lives overall. Have a great day.